Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So today we are going to review what happened in February, and if you can remember at the start of February I predicted that we would see an over 30% increase in our price, and I was sadly right. The story for February is a little crazy, so let's take a look at what happened. In February of 2020, we sold 85 units, and this month we sold 87. So not a huge change in terms of the amount of units transacted. The real story is our average price. In February of 2020, it was $889,000. It has jumped over $300,000. Our average price in February of 2021 was $1,196,000. That is our average price in Georgetown, almost $1.2 million. That is a 34% increase, and it is completely insane. I'm not really surprised, but when you look at where it came from last year, and I remember in February of last year, we were like in chaos and trying to get listings. And to think of what has happened in the last year is insane. Another thing to note is our days on market. So in February of 2020, our average days on market was 22 days on market. And this past February, it was only 10 days on market. This is just showing how insane the market is, how quickly things are getting purchased. The numbers from February are reflective of what we're seeing and what's happening, but it's still, when you compare it to last year, is still really shocking. So now looking at what happened last week in Georgetown, we had 14 properties sell, which is not as big of a number as I was expecting because we did have a bit new inventory. But another thing that is not surprising but crazy is that 13 of the 14 sold over asking. The story this week is going to be me talking about over asking because everything is going over asking. Like, what's the point of a list price, it feels like right now? So 13 properties of the 14 sold over asking. We did have 22 new listings in Georgetown last week, which is amazing, and a lot of like condo townhome products. So some of our lower price points definitely jumped this week. In Acton, we had 6 properties sell, which is a big number for Acton, and 5 of them sold over asking. Craziness there too. We did have 4 new listings in Acton, so that is not great news for the buyers in Acton. In Glen Williams and Limehouse this week, the story was the same. We saw no properties sell, and both areas had 1 new listing. In the rural market, and this is super interesting to me, we had 5 properties sell, which is a huge number for the rural market. Like, if we can get 1 to 3 sales a week, that's great there. So we had 5 this week, and all 5 of them sold over asking. So not only is it crazy in town, but now the rural market is starting to really feel the chaos. That means bidding wars on every rural sale this week. That is definitely a shift and definitely reflective of what is happening in this market right now. We did have 5 new listings in the rural market, so at least some new products hitting the market there. But yeah, just everything is selling over asking. It's just crazy when you really break it down. So now looking at our active inventory. So the good news is because of how much inventory we saw come up in Georgetown, our overall inventory is up this week. Last week we were at 52 units, and this week we are at 61. So that is a pretty good jump week over week. In Georgetown, we are up significantly to 35 active listings, still very low, but 35, which is good. Where we saw some huge jumps was in our opening price point. So under 700,000 jumped up from 4 to 9 active listings. I anticipate majority of these will be gone by next week, but 9 listings under 700,000 is a huge number available there. 700,000 to 800,000 last week was sitting really high at 7. We saw a lot of those transact, but there was quite a bit of new listings in that price point. So we didn't see a huge drop. It's at 6 active listings, which is still a good number for that price point. But again, everything is just like up and down there. 800 to $1 million is up significantly to 7 active listings. This is our price point that is really driving up the average price point. So if you're listing something between 800 and $1 million, it right now is fetching like 1.1, 1.2. So when that pocket is really just going crazy and people are spending huge numbers there, that's pulling up our average price point. And so we are seeing a lot transact over that $1 million mark. And so no huge surprise to see such a high average price for the month of February. Our $1 million plus price point is up to 13 active listings, which is not a big number for there, but we really struggled to get inventory there, especially in January. So that is good news for our $1 million plus buyers. In Acton this week, inventory is down to only 7 active listings, which is way too low for Acton, and most are under that $1 million plus, so that's at least something good, but yeah, only 7 active listings there. Glen Williams and Limehouse are both up to 2 active listings, which is kind of in the norm for those areas. It still, unfortunately, is low, but we usually struggle with inventory in those two areas. In the rural market, we stayed steady at 15 active listings, still quite a low number for the rural area. And based on what's happening, I think we will continue to see high sales in the rural market. I'm still shocked that all of them got over asking this week. That is just not something we're accustomed to in rural sales. So that's going to be something we watch really closely. Overall, I can't believe how much our average price point has jumped. I look back on February of 2020 before all this chaos hit, and I remember having so many conversations with sellers like, get your house on the market, it's insane right now. But it is obviously not even comparable to what we are feeling right now. The average price, I anticipate, will not go backwards in March. It still feels very busy out there, and the amount of over askings this week is just proving that our inventory is nowhere near close to satisfying our buyers. So I anticipate another huge jump in our March numbers over last year. I don't know that we're going to see a huge jump versus like this February, but I do think our year over years are really shocking. And so we're just going to continue to watch this. Again, if you're a seller, now is really a good time to be thinking about getting top dollar for your home. So that's it for this week's crazy update. I will be back next Tuesday to see how the start of March goes. The good news is it does feel like we are seeing some new listings enter the market, but they are just transacting very, very fast. So get your homes on the market. If you're a buyer, buckle up, and I will be back next Tuesday with your market update. Have a great week, everyone.